You're listening to Welcome to Eloma, a podcast for highly ambitious dreamers who get shit done. I'm your host, Kiley Peters. This is a space where we talk about reflection and goal setting. Today, it's just going to be me. This is a solo cast as we wrap up the end of 2023. And I figured this was an appropriate topic as we start moving into 2024 and for years to come. So I thought I'd start off today by talking a little bit about, well, the importance of reflection and then how we can leverage that to set our goals for future dates. If you haven't already taken some time to reflect on the end of the year, and this doesn't only have to happen at the end of the year, but at any milestone, like I like to do it. I like to reflect, like on my birthday, at the end of the year. We've been doing it on a quarterly basis, so we don't forget to take the opportunity to acknowledge ourselves for how far we've come. Many of us entrepreneurs are type A control freaks and overachievers, and it is very easy to have a never-ending to-do list and to very easily forget how much we've actually accomplished in the year, whether or not it went the way that we had hoped. We've still accomplished a lot. We are still in a different place than we were a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, et cetera. And it's important that we take the time to acknowledge that and celebrate it, because if we don't take the time to celebrate these wins, then we forget sometimes why we're doing it. So it's important to take some time to reflect. And however that works for you, some people like to journal. I like to walk around and do verbal dictation into a Google Doc. Whatever works for you, just take some time to really think about how far you've come and how different life looks now than it did a year ago or 6 months ago, et cetera. Now, as you are thinking about what your goals are for the next year, quarter, 5 years, 10 years, whatever it might look like for you, I'm going to offer up a framework we use at RAYNE IX to help identify what we want for ourselves, how we align the work we do, and then how we break down goals so that they are hopefully not super overwhelming, but more easily digestible. So we've built something we call the DNA of Success framework, which stands for the definition and alignment of success. So you've probably heard me say it before, but I firmly believe, and at RAYNE IX, this is what we practice, is that we have to define success for ourselves and then align the work that we do and the businesses that we run to our personal definition of success. Because if we jump right into running the business, it might work for a little while, and that's all well and good. But if we are just focused on running the business and we don't check in with ourselves to understand why we're doing this and what we're trying to accomplish, and I mean, we're all starting a business for a reason, right? It's usually autonomy, flexibility, ownership of time, maybe to make more money, whatever it is, usually to do good in the world. But if we don't get clear on what that is up front, at a certain point in time, we start to question what we're doing in terms of running the business and why we're spending all this time and energy doing it if we haven't set those expectations and those intentions up front. So we really believe that we need to define success for ourselves, and then we need to align the business that we're building and running, or businesses, to that personal definition of success. And they can have different reasons and different meanings, but it's important that we're at least aware of it. So we have 4 phases to this framework. And so if you are looking at the framework itself right now, it's essentially like a triangle with 2 sides and then like a baseline, right? So side 1 is called defining success. Define success for you as the individual. And we go through these 4 phases, which are purpose, energy, action, and knowledge. And then we go straight up through the middle, and then we go back down the other side to align our business and the work that we do to that personal definition of success. So I'm going to take a little bit of time and kind of walk you through this framework and specifically dive into the goal setting piece of it. But I wanted to just give you that lay of the land. So when we first get started, we talk about purpose, right? And so personally, this is, what is your personal purpose? And we could dive very far into that, but that's not what we're going to do today. But identifying your personal purpose. Now, on the business side of things, some people call this a vision statement, et cetera. This is why you exist, what you hope to, the change you hope to see in the world, the impact that you want to make, and who you are here to serve. And then when we get into energy, this is, how are you spending your time and energy? So both personally, and then in the business side of things, how is your business spending its time and energy? What problems is it solving, and how is it solving those problems? And then we get into action. So this is, what do you want? And what is the action plan you're going to create to make it happen? And that's where we're going to spend a lot of time today. But I'm just going to quick touch on the last section, which is knowledge. And this is, what do you need and what do you need to know? And that's applicable both personally. So once you identify all of these things, your personal purpose, how you want to spend your time and energy, what you want, and how you're going to make it happen, then it's a moment for reflection to see, well, what do I need to make this happen? What do I need to know to make this happen? What questions do I need to ask? What resources do I need? What funds do I need, et cetera? And then on the business side, similar questions. So what do I need? What do I need to know? What resources do I need? What funds do I need to make this happen? So that's kind of the outline of the framework. But today I'm just going to spend a bit more time diving into the, what do you want and how are you going to make it happen? Since we're talking about goal setting, right? So when we talk about what do you want, first of all, that's one of my favorite questions, especially when I speak with women. I work a lot with women, and oftentimes, because women tend to give so much, some women, not all women, right, have not taken the time to really think about what they want. And that's really important, because if we don't get clear on what we want, it's nearly impossible to achieve it if we can't name it. So it's really important to take some time and really think about what you want for yourself. And there's no right or wrong answer here, as long as it's honest. So I encourage you to take some time and be honest with yourself and identify these things for yourself if you haven't already. So when we talk about what do you want, we break this down into 4 different areas. So I believe everything starts with you. And so the first and most important thing you need to figure out that you want is, what do you want personally? So what experiences do you want? What things do you want? How do you want to be physically, emotionally, spiritually, mentally, et cetera? Who do you want in your life? What really matters to you? Do you want to, run a marathon every year? Do you want to climb Mount Kilimanjaro? Do you want to be at every one of your kids' soccer games? Do you want to own a new sports car? Do you want a lake house? Do you want to travel 3 months out of the year? Do you want to, work a 20-hour work week and make X dollars? Like, what do you want? How do you want your life to be? And I encourage you to really just dig in. Like, it does not have to be a 9 to 5. It does not have to be 40 hours a week. It does not have to be 12 months a year. You can take the summers off if you design your business and your life accordingly. You can work whatever work weeks you want if you have built a business to support you and you have a team that can run it that doesn't need you. Now, this isn't going to happen overnight, but if you don't identify the vision you want to see happen, it's almost never going to happen. So we have to name it, right? So what do you want? What things, experiences, people, what state of being do you want for yourself as an individual? The second step is financially. What are the financial benchmarks and milestones that you want to accomplish? Because while not everything in life requires money, and oftentimes the best things don't, most of it's not free. As much as we would like, that would be awesome. But those things and those experiences that you just listed out that you want to happen personally, my guess is most of them aren't free. So for the ones that aren't, what financial benchmarks and milestones do you need to hit in order to accomplish those things? So is it X dollars in retirement savings by a certain date so you can retire early? Is it, paying off your mortgage or mortgages by a certain date so you don't have that financial burden, or paying off student loans, or paying off cars or debt, or, making a certain dollar amount, making a certain salary? making a certain take home from your business, all kinds of things, different revenue streams potentially. So, what financial benchmarks and milestones do you want to hit and accomplish so that your personal dreams can come true? And then, because most of us make a lot of our money through our profession, what professional benchmarks and milestones do you need to hit in order to make the financial benchmarks and milestones happen to make your personal things happen? So, professionally, what do you want to do? Do you want to launch a podcast? Do you want to write a book? Do you want to launch another business, three other businesses, launch a nonprofit? You know, build out some passive revenue streams, launch a certification or training course, build a partnership, build an affiliate relationship, do none of those things. What do you want to see happen? Are you building a business to sell? Are you building a lifestyle business? How do you want your work to support you? So just a few things to think about there so that you can hit the financial benchmarks you need to. And then the last section that I want to talk about is areas of growth. So I believe that we stop growing when we stop learning. And I think that curiosity is key to everything. So I encourage you to stay curious and continuing to learn so that you continue to grow as an individual. So, what do you want to learn? What do you want to continue to build? Are there new skill sets, new languages, new books, new life experiences, cultural experiences, skills, talents, instruments, sports? Whatever it is, it doesn't have to purely be professional, just so long as you continue to get comfortable being uncomfortable with learning new things so you can continue to grow and stretch. So that's my recommendation for you, is to focus on those 4 areas. And then I would also say, so first, like, map all of that out, right? Map out what you are looking for. And then I would say, think about the long term, right? So think about, and whatever that looks like to you, long term could be 5 years, it could be 10 years, it could be 30, 50 years, doesn't matter. Think long term, like, okay, these are the big things I think I want to happen in my life, at least right now, right? And then break that down into, maybe a smaller chunk. Okay, in 3 to 5 years, these are some of the big milestones I want to accomplish. And then take a look at like the next coming 12 months. And then I encourage you to break down that 12-month, those 12-month big goals into quarterly breakdowns so that you're focusing on more tactical ways to actually accomplish the things. And I would also recommend, once you get to that quarterly breakdown, you probably don't need to do it for any of the other time frames unless you really want to. But the quarterly breakdown, because they're very like tactical and action oriented, I encourage you to break them down into big goals, medium goals, and small goals. Speaking from experience, you want to be mindful that you're human. We're all human. And even though we're very ambitious, we still only have so many hours in the day. And we are all very much working hard to not burn ourselves out. So trying to accomplish, say, like 4 big things in 1 quarter might be tough. And I wouldn't recommend it. I made I don't want to say mistake, but I had a learning lesson in Q4 of last year, 2022, where I planned a wedding, had a honeymoon, shut down a business, and started another business in the same quarter. Don't do that. I don't recommend that. And keep in mind, these are all areas of your life, right? This is not just personally, this is not just professionally, this is everything, because you are a whole human being. So I would really recommend focusing on one big thing per quarter. I would focus on really one medium thing per quarter. And then you could probably get away with 2 or 3 small things per quarter. Because keep in mind, you have all of your daily responsibilities to do as well. These are the big goals. These are the things that are going to really move the needle for you. But you have to remember that you still have all the other hours in the day and the week and the quarter that you have to dedicate to business as usual. So trying to be realistic with your time and energy, and making sure that you're giving yourself time for rest as well. And then a lot of people also enjoy breaking these quarterly goals down into 2-week sprints. So this is when we get really tactical. So say, in a 90-day period of time, your goal is to launch a program, right? Well, you might break that down. So you say, okay, I'm going to launch a program, and here are all the steps that I need to accomplish in order to launch that program. So I would recommend building that out in like a project management tool, et cetera. And then break those down into 2-week sprints so that it becomes really bite-sized. Okay, in these 2 weeks, these are the 4 things that need to get done for this big goal, this medium goal, this small goal. And then once you get through that, great. Now, these 2 weeks, this is what needs to get done. So again, it just becomes really bite-sized. So often we don't make moves on the goals we set for ourselves because we get inundated and we get intimidated and it gets too big and too scary. And we're just like, I'm just going to sit on the couch and watch TV and eat chips because that's easier. And it is easier, and that's okay sometimes, but our goals don't get done if that's all we do. So that would be my recommendation. And then I would also recommend that you identify 3 big things you want to accomplish each day and try your best to get them done in the morning. So 3 big things, not like check email and submit this paper. Well, sometimes paperwork is a big thing, but not all like the tiny tasks, right? Those things you want to try to batch together and do at a certain period of time so that your mind is just in like admin task mode. But the 3 big things that are going to help get you closer to where you're trying to go. So those would be my recommendations, and making sure that you're focusing on accomplishing those goals in addition to all the daily minutia of the work that we do. So um, what I would what I would suggest is go through that exercise, take that time to think through it for yourself. And then I want you to ask yourself, like, a year from now, what do you want to be true? What do you want to be true? And whenever you're listening to this, if this happens to be the end of the year, if this happens to be at any point in the year, feel free to adjust this to whatever time frame it is that you're listening. But right now, as we're recording and as this gets published, it'll be the end of 2023. So I'll say for myself, by the end of 2024. Now, recognize some of these things may or may not be in my control, but these are the things I would love to see happen for myself in these categories. So personally, I would really love to be a mom this time next year. My husband and I are working through this process. We're going through the IVF process, and it's quite a challenge. So for anybody out there who is also going through it, know that you're not alone. But with any luck, hopefully we'll have a baby by the end of 2024. I would also financially, this year has been an investment year. I would like to pay off all of the debt that has piled up. So that way we can be debt free by the end of next year. We also have been building out some really great programs, and my goal is to have these programs running without me, so that I can take a maternity leave, and it's just to help the stability of the business and the growth and the scale of the business so that it's not reliant on me, and my team is producing all of these programs without needing me to do so, and they feel confident in doing so. And building a solid referral pipeline, we've seen that be really successful. So continuing to pour into that. And then I would also like to write a book. So that's my areas of growth. I like to write a book. I don't anticipate that to be a giant revenue stream of any kind. But I have some things to say that I think could be helpful. And, maybe people will want me to speak even more. That would be awesome too. But I'd like to write a book and then hopefully looking to publish that the following year. So that's me, if that sparks any inspiration for you. And the last thing I'll say, and there's science to back this up, is don't just think about these things, write them down. Write them down and then tell people about them. We are significantly more likely to accomplish our goals if we write them down on a regular basis and we tell people them, because those people can then help hold us accountable. And life happens fast, man. It happens fast. And sometimes it is really helpful to have somebody in your life just hold you by the shoulders and say, hey, remember this thing you really wanted to do? How's that going? And remind us that this is our life and it happens once, and you don't get time back. So whatever it is that you want to do, You deserve that right. And I wish you all the best. And go get them. You've got this. So hopefully that was helpful as you continue to move forward and think about the big things you want to accomplish. If you're looking for any additional information, you can always check out more about me at Kiley Peters, KILEY Peters.com, or check out at RAYNE9, RAYNEIX.com. And you can learn more about the programs that we have to offer, speaking opportunities, etc., all the good stuff. So until then, thank you so much. Please leave a review wherever you're listening. Don't forget to sign up for our bi-weekly newsletter. That's at rixnewsletter.com. That's where we send out our podcast episodes every other week, at least right now, and all kinds of tips on entrepreneurship and things that you should know about, tips, tricks, resources, etc. All right, until next time, thank you. To continue learning how to better build your business and make your vision a reality, subscribe to the Welcome to Eloma email list at welcometoeloma.com.